Jarvan, Lee Sin whenever possible.
I've got a feeling Najin is banking on Watch having the opportunity to pick up Lee Sin. Samsung's not going to grab it in their first round, perhaps?
Well, I think they actually might, considering that has been E's champion of choice. And now
I think
they're going to actually ban the Corki. That's a weird one because Fury hasn't been playing a lot of Corki. There is Lee Sin, but there's the Gnar available. Yeah. And they're going to take the Kassadin instead. Now, Najin has been prioritizing Kassadin as a first pick very heavily.
Yep.
Of course, Duke and Goong both capable of playing it, but these days it almost always ends up in Goong's hands. Yeah. So I think that's actually... I think Najin has become a bit transparent in terms of their pick ban phase, just because Goong has played 3 out of his last 5 games on Kassadin, and the other times he's been on Xerath. So the Lulu may head over into Samsung's hands.
Janna available as well, too, and we haven't mentioned this yet either, that Lissandra has not been picked up. Gnar's still available, too, but I would imagine Samsung not too interested in picking that up for Kuve.
I imagine that this Lulu will be locked in. Just a very safe pick, especially for Bliss.
Yep. This could be paired with a Rengar kind of speed composition as well, too. We haven't seen Samsung play that yet, I believe, but it is popular with some of the teams. It's tough to make it work, though.
Yeah, if I was Samsung, I would not trust myself to run that composition, but we'll see. It does take a bit more team coordination than I think they have. Thresh actually taken very early in the draft. Bit of a surprise.
Well, Pierre's done very well in Thresh, but he's played so many different support champions that...
Yeah, what they're trying to do right there is punish the Morgana ban. They say, okay, well, you don't have an answer to Thresh if you don't have Morgana in a 2v2 laning phase.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is a little bit more of a risk.
Well, I wonder if Najin's going to just grab Jen and gear themselves up for a lane swap or something, possibly.
Yeah, that's definitely an option, but they also want to get this Kassadin rolling. So Rek'Sai will make it through.
Yep.
Watch. His first time playing Rek'Sai.
Yeah. And this all really makes you wonder what Eve's going to end up grabbing as a jungler with Jarvan, Lee Sin, Rek'Sai all unavailable now if Najin locks this in. You'll maybe see the Vi finally enter back into Korean League of Legends.
Yeah, it's been used all over the world except in Korea so far.
Yeah, well, it's being used a lot in Korean solo queue, just not at the pro level.
And there we go, Rek'Sai snatched up right there, and the Lucian. Bit of a surprise. We haven't seen a Lucian in a long time.
Yeah, it was really Sonstar on Incredible Miracle that's been playing that the most out of anyone, but it's even then been like at least a month and a half since we've seen that.
It's been a long time. This is a bit surprising. Najin really mixing it up in their draft, except for that Kassadin, but it's still, of course, that flex pick. If they want some more information, it will be a mid or top Lulu quite clearly at this point. Fury wants to go for the Sivir, but that can be bullied out of lane by the Lucian. Yeah. I wonder what support they will be putting with this.
Huh. You know, for some other teams, Tristana might have been a better choice, but for Samsung, I feel like they just really continue to struggle running that.
Yeah, Nidalee.
Oh, okay.
Will we see the Nidalee jungle
Yeah.
finally emerge in Korea? We've seen it in China and in Europe. And so, is that going to be coming in? Bliss could also be playing that mid lane Nidalee. There's not really an indication here. It's a good draft from Samsung. Very difficult to figure out what they're doing right now. But with the Rek'Sai already picked up, they won't have an answer to that, at least out of the jungle. So now they're going to have to commit to where they want this Kassadin.
Man, this gives Samsung so much flexibility as far as what sort of matchups they're sending Bliss and Kuve into. Yeah, I think it's a great draft. Probably the safest draft we've seen from Samsung yet. Soraka, that would be interesting. I think we're going to see a switch over to something else, or I was going to say Janna. Yeah, there we go.
Janna. All right, so it will be the Kassadin in the mid lane once again. And it's not that Goong's been doing badly on Kassadin, it's just that he hasn't been making the big Kassadin plays. Goong's a very interesting player. He oscillates between kind of slightly above average as a mid laner to occasionally just going off and being amazing. And it's not like game to game either. He has streaks of like insane play, and then he just kind of goes back to a regular old workhorse in the mid lane, and that's the kind of phase we're seeing him in right now.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'd be a little bit worried about Kuve if he picked up that Rumble. You know, again, flashbacks to what Duke did to Lilac's Rumble. A lot of solo kills, not looking too good, but the Maokai, I think, is a pretty safe pickup here.
I really like the team composition that Samsung has put together, especially for them. They have some good laning dominance. Eve is going to be able to be a bully and 1v1 people on the jungle Nidalee here. And they've got some good hard CC in all lanes to use with this jungle Nidalee. Of course, the jungle Nidalee lands a spear and goes in. In the mid lane, Lulu can wild growth in order to get the knock-up. So they have enough hard CC for this Nidalee to be very effective. So I really like that Samsung, I feel, is playing to their strengths right here. They don't have to worry about a lot of kill pressure top in the Maokai-Gnar matchup. They're going to be winning in mid lane. Of course, with the Cassidy and Lulu, Cassidy will just be pretty much farming right there. So the only thing they really have to worry about is this Lucian down in the bottom lane. Should be an interesting match, to be sure. And I love that we're finally seeing some Korean players on the jungle Nidalee.
Well, it's cool to see Samsung finally evolving and growing a little bit in their pick and ban and their team play overall as well, too. It was a good draft, and now we'll see if they can transition that into good stuff in-game as well.
Yeah. So Najin, though, going for the big damage, a lot of AoE CC for the late game. Pretty standard composition coming out of Najin. Duke will get the Gnar one more time. Samsung going for a little bit more of a scrappy style, and a lot of this is going to be around Eve's success in the early game. So hopefully they have some interesting jungle pathing planned.
When you say Eve's success, it's hard not to be like, there's no Evelyn in this game. Oh, you meant the, I see. It's tricky. All right, well, Samsung with a good composition. Can they transition it into a win against a hurting Najin E-mFire? It's time to get in the game and find out. Whenever I see that intro, I'm like thinking he's looking up and going, what are they doing to all those chickens up there? And he just looks at us. He's like, you guys don't want to look up. You don't want to see this. He's seen some stuff. They really just put them in a factory farm.
Just a giant slaughterhouse.
I've always wondered where chicken nuggets come from. They come from the OGN Champions intro. That's where they come from.
It's disgusting.
Some invade shenanigans coming in. Goong tossing the ward down. Samsung flash death sentence. They get the flash out of Goong, and I'd say that's actually a good trade for Samsung, getting the mid laners flash out that early.
Especially Cassidy. That was a great trade for them. Now Eve is going to be able to put a lot of pressure. It's going to change how Goong plays that mid lane. We'll see if he goes for a level 2 or level 3 gank now that he knows the flash is down.
Oh, that's so big.
Watching Duke getting a couple deep wards in just so they can notice where the start is going to be. I think that's absolutely right, though. That's a great decision from Wraith.
Well, really, yeah, really smart decision. Showing this guy's intelligence right off the bat, saying, all right, I'm probably not going to hit this, but if I can make him flash, it's totally worth it. And he did. Mission accomplished.
You see right there, starting with the javelin toss.
Hanging out with the sapling
Party. And we do see the sapling stacking beginning at a minute 20 for the Maokai, so we'll be able to clean up those little camps right there, and we have a sign.
Wow.
For Duke.
Good old Duke. Everybody's a cow, apparently. They kind of, maybe those were just stylized, cutesy people, but they looked kind of like cows to me. Did you get sort of a cow vibe from that? Sure. Thanks for going with me on that one.
I didn't get a very good look at it, so. Oh, so there we go. Eve will be clearing out that pit. They're going to know that he's starting topside. While Pure helping out Watch all the way up until the red, actually.
And Fury there.
All right. Looks like they actually shared XP there over on the Krugs. As we can see, OQ already level 2. Interesting strategy. So, of course, we didn't see Watch hit level 2 until he finished the red camp. So, a bit of an XP share. That's an interesting way to do a level 1 that we haven't really seen before.
Yeah, we'll give Lucian a little bit more mobility against this Thresh early on and help kind of poke, maybe take advantage of that missing flash after all.
Yeah, you can see right here OQ already using that level 2 advantage for some great harassment. Good little trick there by Najin.
Got the shield start too by Janna too, so OQ is really safe.
Yeah, it's really quite dangerous with the burst you can get. Eve clearing out the wolves right now, getting a tad bit low, but he will hit level 3 and keep on rolling.
Yeah.
Was smite up soon enough for this blue buff. Should be all right. Meanwhile, watch on his blue. So no early shenanigans, actually, after this flash used. So we'll see if Eve is going to recall and take another shot. But Goong playing very far back in the lane right now as well. Definitely the smart thing to do at the moment. And here we go. Duke pushing Kuve out a little bit.
Well, that's the thing with Goong is that if he goes out right now, he's just going to die. No flash on a Kassadin pre-6. There's nothing you can do.
Eve still lurking around the mid lane right here. He's got the blue buff, so he is able to give himself some heals over time and then stick around on the map without going back.
Yeah.
As you can see right now, doing what he can. He's going to go ahead and get the Scuttle Crab.
Man, Fury has been denied so much CS. Look at that, 20-9 right now. Pretty disastrous start.
That was a very interesting start from Najin. I like what we saw from them right there.
That was really smart. You know, they adapted well to that flash being gone on Wraith, and it's really paying dividends in the lane.
We're seeing some more diverse strategies. I mean, look at that, 4-3 now to 2-2. That's just a massive difference.
Yeah.
The other day, we did see a Leona take the XP and try and hit level 2 quickly for a fast all-in. And that actually did a lot of damage to the AD carry. So it's nice to see that teams are really starting to think about, especially these duos, how they can use the Krugs and where the levels need to be in order for them to get a pretty dominant lane right here. OQ still a level up, being a pain in the ass. So Najin coming in with a nice game plan early on. Watch slowing down his jungle speed just a little bit, but ultimately yielding a larger advantage so far for Najin. About 500 gold, the difference, pretty significant.
Yeah, he's going to grab that crop, and we'll see where he moves to after that. There is a ward in Rivers, so he can't really gank bot easily, but it looks like he's moving up to mid lane. Oh, finds a ward there.
Already had a pink ward in there, so.
Yep.
Knew what he was looking at. He's going to clear a pink as well, right behind the red buff.
Indeed. And Goong, you know, honestly doing a pretty good job of CSing, considering that he's been pushed back the entire time. He's had to play really safe.
He gets some deep wards in.
Yep.
Eliminate some tunnels while he's at it, trying to find this Rek'Sai to get some duels going. Of course, Goong would have a very difficult time responding at this point, but Watch just keeps on farming up, staying well away. Look at this, actually. Eve went for tier.
Oh, interesting.
Before finishing a jungle item. Now, that is some pretty intense dedication to snowballing there. But that comes at the expense of gold, of course.
It does.
Yeah, the upgraded jungle item is going to give you 15 more gold per camp, so bold. I would say that's a very bold strategy coming in from Eve, and not something that we've seen really from a lot of these jungle Nidalees.
Yeah, I'm not ultra familiar with the itemization on the jungle Nidalee just yet. Is that going to be turned into a rod, do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be.
I would imagine. It's just going to go for a very fast rod. Like, does the stats from the Catalyst, do you think those add up enough throughout the course of the game to warrant getting that tier early?
Well, yeah, the tier I think is going to be.
What am I talking about? I don't know what I'm saying right now.
It's the
wow.
The Archangel staff.
Yes, that's what I meant to say.
Oh, Goong has no mana, actually. Wow, Eve could have, watches right there.
I suppose.
Yeah, could have made some.
For some reason, I was thinking Rod of Ages, but tier is not part of that.
You know, I'm curious. I don't know really what he's going to be doing with this, because there are a couple paths you could go. I mean, almost certainly this is going to be AP. We do see it itemized like that, but I suppose there's an outside shot. It could turn into a Muramana as well, just for some more burst damage when you close the gap.
I suppose.
But yeah, I think it's probably going to be Archangels, and I don't know if it's going to be worth it. That's a very interesting question.
Well, he's got his Trailblazer now.
Yeah, usually these Nidalees that we've seen itemize very heavily for magic penetration with Mage's Enchant, Haunting Guys, Spell Pen Boots, and Void Staff is usually what we've been seeing. But this time around, it's going to be not too much gold lost. And I'm actually very curious how fast you can stack a tier in the jungle, too, because this isn't something that we see very frequently. Keep an eye on that. See where exactly it goes. Obviously, that will give a lot of damage and sustain in the late game, as well as some extra tankiness for going all in.
Yeah. And meanwhile, in the top lane, not a lot has been going on. We just saw Kuve sneak in for a little bit of deep warding. He's down a bit in CS to Duke, but not really in a hugely worrisome way. But OQ, man, still way ahead of Fury.
He really dominating the Scuttle Crabs right here, keeping that vision up, making Watch's life a little bit difficult. Tons of wards around the top side right now. Ping's going down. Duke playing back with that Hex Drinker, but we have a skirmish going up in the top river.
Yeah, that's right, and Eve is right there. Can they help him out? First blood goes to Eve, going after Duke now as well. Duke manages to hop away, but early kill for Samsung Galaxy, and it goes on to the right person, it seems like.
And this is what this comp is good for. I mean, when you gank the top side like that, you have so much damage out of this jungle Nidalee, and combined with the hard CC from the tree, does make it pretty deadly for Rek'Sai to be caught in that situation, especially with Duke at such low HP and not anywhere near his Mega Gnar form. But Rek'Sai back on the map right away.
Yeah,
let's look at that again. I mean, they thought they had a play right here, but
wow, pretty much max range spear from Eve right onto Watch as well.
This jungle Nidalee is one of the best jungle duelists in League of Legends right now. She is so strong. So in any situation pretty much this early in the game where you're going to have equal numbers, I mean really at any point in the game, a 2v2 or a 1v1, and you really don't want the Nidalee to be there.
And that was only done with Trailblazer and Tyr. Yeah.
And Tyr obviously not a combat item either, so that's a testament to really how much damage this Nidalee can do.
So far, so good.
Going to get the blue buff. He's been staying up in terms of CS. Duke is denied a lot from Cuvée, actually. Cuvée not getting the kill either. And Duke looks like he will be going into Warmogs as his first item, just for that catch-all HP, not committing to any specific armor or magic resist itemization. OQ way up in that bottom lane so far. That was a very effective level 1 strategy that they had going on.
Yeah, that lane is a bit worrisome for Samsung. We'll see if Eve can make a visit down there at some point. But Najin has done a really good job of keeping that warded. They know that OQ and PR are going to be big targets now, so they've kept themselves pretty safe with the vision. Looks like Cuvée is going for Rod of Ages as well, too.
Yeah,
so he'll be getting that pretty quick.
We have a couple rods coming in for Kassadin and for Maokai, so there will be a little bit of scaling necessary. Samsung a bit more on that side, of course, thanks to the Tyr, and see Eve starting to clear out this blue buff.
Well, Cuvée dueling with Duke a little bit, and Duke does need to be careful. He's got his flash, but he is not going to win. Yeah, I was going to say, he's not really going to win those trades with Maokai right now.
Well, he has to be careful because, of course, the double Doran's ring, but that's going to delay the rod from Cuvée. Duke about to hit that Mega Gnar form, so that's going to cause Cuvée to back off just a tad. And there's the Magus enchantment coming in for Eve. He is very dangerous right now. And he's in pretty nice power spike. Bliss continuing just to pressure onto Goong. He's in danger of losing a tier 1 turret.
Well, all of this is setting up for possibly a really good dragon opportunity for Samsung, and it looks like they want to get that vision in there right now. Eve finds Pure, Watch is right there as well, but so is Wraith. Watch
does not
on the run.
Yeah,
Bliss coming down. Kassadin can't exactly follow, though. He doesn't want to go for the 1v3. Oh, nice spear from Eve. Takes a chunk out of Goong.
The thing about that Magus enchantment is it basically is a needlessly large rod, so you have to be really careful about that. It is a big power spike when an AP jungler gets that item. And there's Fury having to pop his ult to not eat a culling. That's still a win for Najin, though, in terms of this dragon, because now they don't have that movement speed in order to back off of it. You're just going to solo this one. Here's the Rek'Sai ult coming in. Teleport on the way. Eve has to back out.
Wow, Najin, everybody there, and Samsung a bit scattered right now, not able to support Eve. I think Eve thought he was doing that a little bit more stealthily than he ended up doing it.
Well, you can't do that when your bottom lane is pushed up like that. It allows the Lucian and the Janna to get there much faster and cut off Sivir and Thresh, and especially with the Sivir ultimate down, too much of an unsafe play.
I tried to be sneaky, but it ended up just giving the dragon over to Najin. Gonna be able to get some decent damage on top turret because of all that, though. And there is that teleport edge for Samsung if they can find a way to use it, too.
Goong really taking a lot of hits to the tower right here, though. Has the Rod of Ages at the moment, but it's going to be a while till he's useful, and they just keep prioritizing this Kassadin. I think it'd be nice to see Goong on something that was a little bit more lane dominant. I mean, Najin has been playing back in mid and top this entire game. Duke has been farming mostly close to his tower.
Yep. Well, Eve grabbing the red buff and getting some more out of the jungle, still stacking that tier as well. Have to see what that turns into.
Yeah, and how long he keeps it. I'm wondering if he's going to wait till it's all the way stacked and then go for the Archangel staff or not.
Yeah.
That's. Oh, no, not going to throw a spear. Just a little trap right there. Getting some increased vision. That's another great thing about this jungle Nidalee is how much presence you have in the enemy jungle with all of these traps that you can just lay down and hope somebody walks over.
Well, if you put them in the right place, they will get walked over, and that's almost as good as having like a little mini scrying orb at that point.
Yeah, and also just the ability to pounce over walls, move so quickly, and get those deep wards in. I mean, Rek'Sai's great for deep warding too, because you can just see with Tremor Sense whether anybody's there or not, so you can just do it safely. But literally, the speed at which you can get those deep wards, pretty terrifying. Duke actually not going for the Warmogs. He is going for the Banshee's Veil, it would appear instead. Changing it up a little bit.
All right. Still no Rod of Ages for Kuve as well, too. That's going to be, it's getting a little bit late.
All right, Infinity Edge done for OQ. Pretty big moment. He needs to be able to push down this tower right now and actually punish Fury while he has the core item advantage.
I wouldn't be surprised if Fury can just go back and buy his IE right now, though. He's got to be close.
Well, we do see that large CS lead for OQ.
Yeah.
It may not be too close. Samsung with some very aggressive invading right here, but nothing to be done about it. Everybody up on the top side handing off the blue to Goong. And then Nidalee will go back down.
Oh,
through the Tri-Brush. Looks like they just want the top tower, so Watch not going to go in on that. And not going to show also. So keeping his presence a mystery, this will cause Samsung to be a little bit more reluctant about sieging this bottom turret. And there we go. There is a culling coming in.
Pretty easy to push Samsung away there.
Yeah, I think that was really smart of Watch, actually, not to show on the top side. He knew that Duke was going to be able to get this tower with that minion wave without his help. So instead of alerting Samsung to his location, simply the fear of the jungler, meaning that Samsung couldn't make a big play down in bottom. Good reserved play there from Watch.
Well, Najin really needs to play safe today, methodical today. They don't just need the win. They really need the 2-0. They need to get as good of a match score as they possibly can going into the next half of the season, because there's a really good chance that they could be looking at a tiebreaker situation even if they start doing well in the next half. And
yeah, that's pretty scary for them, especially for a team that on paper looks so very strong.
Yeah, that's why that game score matters. They might need it.
Bottom turret still standing, in spite of all those minion waves pushed into it. So Fury has the wave clear, and Najin not really pressing too terribly hard right now, just trying to maintain that 40 creep score advantage that they've had for the last few minutes.
Yeah.
Goong will be farming pretty far back. Now, he's kept up in terms of that CS, but still not a big impact. Of course, Kassadin does need that time to scale. He already has 6 stacks complete onto his Rod of Ages.
He's certainly getting some time. And now, a minute until Dragon. Najin gets their second turret to the game.
Timing couldn't really be better. Eve's still looking for something right here, but in spite of all of the wards that Samsung has placed in the bottom side and the presence they've had from Eve, they haven't been able to convert it into anything, and that is actually very important.
Oh, fighting the top lane, Kuve in a little bit of trouble, make that a lot of trouble. He's gone. A kill for Duke now with a little bit of help from Watch. And Samsung, can they take this bot turret to sort of trade? They may lose their top tier 2 in this too.
Looks like they're actually just going to go back right now,
man.
give up the top tier 1. They want to set up for the Dragon. I think this is a good call from Najin because if they stick around, they likely lose the tier 1 and they lose the Dragon. Meanwhile, tier 2 is going to go down in the top side. Now they have a chance to rebuff the attack, especially with OQ picking up some more attack speed. Duke's going to be able to return and he'll have his TP up. So they actually trade a tier 1 for a tier 2. And they're going to have some presence. Well, looks like they may not have presence at the Dragon, actually. A little bit late on the recall.
Let's see if they can get there in time. The Dragon started by Samsung. Now we could have our first big team fight of the game. Goon coming in. There's Pierre as well. Samsung has to back off. There's the teleport coming in. They get Wraith very, very quickly. Fury already on the run, using that Citadel to disengage. Kube comes in but gets pushed back by Pierre's ultimate. Fury manages to pick up a kill, and here comes Eve. There goes Eve, actually. Slowed down now by Duke. Duke getting a bit low himself, though. Bliss and Fury just piling on the damage from the edge of the fight, and Eve backed off enough to heal up and come back in. Samsung turning this one around. They got the slow onto Goong. They got the kill onto Goong. There's a double and another one. Samsung, they got it. They lost the Dragon, but they won the fight big time, and now they'll be able to take the second Dragon and equalize.
Yeah, right there. Big turnaround in that team fight. A little bit of a scatter shot engaged from Najin. Patient play from Samsung using that poke to whittle down their opponents. And a big part of this fight, Doa, was Kube actually itemized for armor right here because he was able to face tank OQ very well. Meanwhile, Duke, because he had the Banshee's Veil first, and the ultimate as well. Look at the 20% reduction. So Goong's going to go in. Everything's looking good, right? Okay, they blow him up immediately. Box goes down a little bit early. Duke, of course, is going to hit that. But look at that big arcane smash. Ricochet will take out the Janna right there, and Duke just misses a bunch of skill shots, actually. A bit uncharacteristic of his Gnar play.
A little bit. Nice wide growth on the Eve, too. Getting that knockup.
But that Nidalee does so much damage in the mid-game. You can see saving her. They have to be able to focus her. Now, she is quite squishy.
You know, part of that, too, is OQ is just playing late for the fight. He just came in way after everybody else, too.
Well, I mean, they did pull the trigger pretty early. Of course, Rek'Sai ult and teleport did get Watch and Duke there immediately. And OQ didn't have a very good target to select.
Well, we do have that Archangel staff now on Eve. Managed to finish it. And a huge power spike across the board for Samsung right now.
Yeah, Seraph's Embrace already done, actually.
Oh, yeah.
A bit of a surprise. I didn't think you could stack it this fast in the jungle, but already 20 minutes. Now some split pushing going on from Najin. Looks like they're going to get 2 towers for 2 towers right here. They're going to rush Baron.
I think you're right. Oh, wow. They're doing it. There's a Baron at 21 minutes and a pause as well, too.
Oh, well, that's anticlimactic, Doa.
I guess so. Things were just getting exciting. I blame Goong. Goong, what did you do? He's like, are they doing? No.
Looking in the other booth. What's wrong with you guys? Why are you pausing right now, right as you're about to do this Baron? Well, this Baron a bit risky.
Yeah, I would say so.
From Samsung, of course, we do see OQ already moving out of the bottom lane after killing the tier 2. Everybody else on the way. Rek'Sai ultimate's available, but there aren't any nearby tunnels, unfortunately, for Watch. He's in the mid lane as we're looking on it. Everybody else just exiting the base. So it seems like they will be able to get there in time, but this Nidalee is going to add a lot of burst damage to this Baron.
Well, I wonder if Najin is really even aware.
Although they're aware. They're all
so?
Yes, 100%. They're all running there right now. They had, if we look at where OQ is going, leaving that lane and going through the enemy jungle, he has no wards in there, and he wouldn't be walking in there if he wasn't 100% sure that they were not on that side of the map.
It's true. It's a very brave move. Well, Duke, see if he can redeem himself for a bit of an off fight at Dragon just a minute or two ago. You know, Samsung did give up a couple turrets to get into this position now, too, after the Dragon. I mean, bot lane is pushed up all the way to the inhibitor turret. They've got some issues.
And here we go. We're going to unpause already and see the climax here right at the Baron. Everybody autoing it. Samsung thinks better and leaves. There are too many people. Watch is already there.
They might be able to catch him, too, as well. What's going on?
Pure having...
Oh.
We actually have a legitimately physical injury.
Is this our first injury on OGN Champions? Uh-oh.
Looks like he may be having some.
We make an emergency substitution. Kane can play Jana, right?
Perhaps a nosebleed issue right there.
I guess so.
The excitement really got to him.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, it does get very dry sometimes in the booth. They've got the AC going, you know.
I prefer to think that OQ was just a little too vigorous with his mouse hand and then just smacked him in the face.
That's right. Or pure like Mr. Whirlwind and Reach comes up and just, how dare you.
OQ's like, yep.
We don't stand for that kind of stuff, though.
It was me. My mouse hand was a little slippery. Couldn't control it.
I'm sure that's happened at one point. Oh, well, I dropped my mouse and accidentally smacked you in the face. Oops. Whoops. You know, if everyone who randomly met on solo queue sat next to each other while they're playing, that would happen quite a bit, I think.
Not so accidentally.
Najin is dominating. There we go. Yep. Well, I don't know if they're dominating quite at the moment.
Yeah, really. It's going to be a little bit interesting now. Samsung is backing off the Baron, which I think is absolutely the right call here. And the thing about Samsung is throughout all of this, they've lost more objectives than they've gained. They've not made the best trades so far in terms of turrets. I mean, we do see just a single turret advantage to Najin right now, but they also have just more control of the map. They're really dictating the pace and forcing the Samsung team to respond.
You know, what it's looking like from Samsung, too, is that I do feel like we're seeing improvement. We're seeing better decisions, but we're just not seeing the best decisions that could be made quite yet. You know, they're still looking a little bit scattered. They're still looking a little bit manic in terms of their map movement. They're like, oh, we have to do this now. Oh, now we have to do this. You know, it still feels very solo queue, doesn't it, you know?
It does, but I am really happy that we're seeing some more emphasis on Samsung's strength. I think that the Nidalee pickup for Eve is fantastic for this team. I think he's been doing really well on it.
I think this is easily one of the best games we've seen them play all season already.
Well, finally, they're at least like trading objectives a little bit better instead of just, you know, hemorrhaging every tower throughout the entirety of the game.
Is hemorrhaging really the appropriate word to use now, Monty?
It is.
Was that intentional? Okay. Okay, freak. I mean that in both senses. Well, I hope Pure recovers. I don't know. Do you really call it recovering? I guess.
It's rare that we have an actual physical injury.
We've never really had that. No, we've been doing this for a couple of years. I mean, I can't think of another time. Yeah, he can't either. See, he's like, no, I don't. I can't remember that happening.
Sometimes, though, you do have to delay esports for weird reasons. I'll tell you about a delay in Season 2. At the World Championship in Season 2, during the quarterfinals, maybe it was still the group stages, what happened was, this is one of the weirder things. It was outside, right?
Okay.
And so they had to delay one of the games because of the angle of the sun was getting in the player's eyes. I'm not joking, yeah.
Maybe some planning issues there, but it's...
Well, they didn't have any kind of shade for them. So, yeah, they had to delay the game by, like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes just because they needed the sun to move, which was also kind of a first for me in esports. That the angle of the sun was
the sun was in my eyes. A classic excuse. Oh, sorry, guys. I missed my Blitzcrank grab because the sun was in my eyes. I've heard that one before, Monty. I won't buy that for a second.
When you're playing against Leona, it is kind of a legitimate excuse.
That's true, yeah. When the sun is, like, all over your body and then it, like, gets exploded by people hitting you. I don't know how that happens. It's a little bit odd. It's true. You know, casting, there's no weather delays for casting, though. Because we casted a finals in pouring rain.
It was great.
That's right.
Champions Summer Final in 2013. We couldn't even really see what was going on. We actually had bags over our monitors, like plastic bags, and then there was rain all over those bags. So we were furiously trying to wipe
like the entire game. We were just doing that. And then also it was like a summer day, but then it was not like the warmest summer day. So once you get soaked, you just become really cold. So by the end of that game, I remember like not being able to see anything. I had glasses, so I had to be wiping those off the whole time too. And I was like shivering cold too. But man, what a great series that was.
Best League of Legends series of all time. SK Telecom versus KT Bullets, and culminating in that Zed versus Zed play.
That's right.
It was a good day.
It was a great day. It started off very moist. We'll put it that way.
And also created one of the best hashtags ever on Twitter.
That's true.
Wet for esports.
We did have that happen to us. We did get that game that day. Yeah. The good old days. Ah, the good old days. Yes, that's right. When we took our horse and buggy to the Olympic Gymnasium, you know,
12,000 of our closest friends.
That's true. It was pretty cool finals. It was neat. They had booths so the players didn't get rained on. Yeah.
Only us.
Yeah. We are the only organization really capable of having outdoor finals because Riot doesn't use booths. Those players would just be out of luck, man.
Well, that's what happens that's what happened in LA, but you see in LA it doesn't rain, so there's only sun in your eyes.
So we can only have outdoor finals in the deserts for official Riot events.
Well, the World Cup stadium was outside this year.
Yeah, but there was like an awning thing that came over that part
awning.
of it. Even if it was raining, it wouldn't have been on the players. Would have just been us.
No, it would have been on the players. They were straight in the middle of the field.
Were they that far out?
Yeah, they were actually on the field. It would have been interesting, to say the least, but
yeah, you're right.
Didn't rain that day.
No,
fortunately.
It was good. That was a fun day too. Yeah. Except I lost my Riot swag bag at the after party, so I never got to use my World Skin codes. And then I asked Nick Allen if he could send me replacements. He hasn't done it yet. Nick Allen, please. I know you're really busy. You see, afterwards it was vacation. Didn't want to bug you then. But come on, we're in the next season. I want to be like Fnatic Janna and stuff. Come on.
Do you?
Nick Allen, I'm calling you out right now. We used to carpool to work together, Nick Allen.
Piers recovered
All
from
right,
his
awesome.
temporary injury. Perhaps caused by dry weather, perhaps caused by OQ's Furious Micro.
It's true. I think it was a Furious Micro, personally.
Perhaps caused by seeing a beautiful girl in the audience.
Oh, it could be too. Caused possibly by just playing Janna. Cuvée. Yeah, so Cuvée. Oh, a fan of Cuvée. Wow. Poor her.
Ooh. Dump it on the Cuvée fans.
No, I take it back. She's a real fan. If you are a Cuvée fan, you are a genuine fan, and I respect that. That's like being a Browns fan in football or something, you know? That's awesome.
Is it?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, poor Pierre. I feel so bad for this guy. 20 minutes of pause left. I don't know how many pints he's losing per minute, but he could be in major trouble. Well, and the thing is the Samsung players have no idea what's going on too. Well, maybe someone probably told them at this point, but they can't like see across into the other booth or anything.
All right, well, it looks like this is a new problem, actually.
You think so? This is easily the most bizarre pause we've ever had.
Yeah, Pierre's just chatting away now.
Okay.
So we'll see if the problem is somewhere else.
All right. Yep. Drink some water, yeah. It's good to stay hydrated. I'm going to have some water too right now. It's a good idea, Pierre. Thank you.
Wow. Looks like we may have a mouse issue, actually. So this is now a different issue in the opposite booth. Looks like Fury needs to fix his mouse.
When it rains, it pours, Monty. And boom, I bring it all back around.
You just wrap it all up, tie a little bow on it.
Yep. That's how we do pauses here.
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day at OGN. What'd you get me?
SK Telecom versus GE.
That is a wonderful gift. I got you the same thing. Oh, I can't believe it.
You know what I love so well, fella.
I was just about to say, you know me so well. It's true. SK Telecom versus GE Tigers. But we're going to get through this first. Don't worry, guys. It's been a good game, though. Honestly, it has been a good game so far. And I was a bit excited about this series. I'm excited about where Samsung could potentially be going as a team. Maybe not this season, but over the course of the year, I think we really could see a good team come out of the core that exists in Samsung Galaxy right now.
I agree with you. And I mean, we see these teams kind of rise so quickly in Korean esports. I mean, sure, GE is mostly veterans, but who would have guessed that they would rise to the degree that they have so far?
I'm glad the Korean commentators are having fun, too. Yep.
Maybe he got a nosebleed from looking at Watch.
Could be. Watch just, like, stared across the booth or stared over at him and snapped his fingers, and he was like, anime nosebleed. Happens in real life, too. Who knew? Guess it had to come from somewhere. Well, we're back in the game, guys. We are back. Hooray. So, just to recap what had happened, Samsung thought about going for a sneaky Baron, but Najin knew what was up. Samsung disengaged, tried to catch Watch, couldn't quite do it, and that leads us to where we are now. I feel like I was recapping like an episode of something on network television. last time on Samsung versus Najin.
Well, yeah, just a few clips right there to get the viewers all nice and ready for the next episode. Feel like they were in the know all along.
Should have done like DBZ.
Well,
can Samsung take down Najin? Find out now.
Well, not really. If it's DBZ, it'll be more like find out in 30 episodes.
That's true. It would just be, then it would just really be watch staring at somebody and going, ah, for like 30 minutes. And then 1 minute of dialogue, episode end.
I wonder if anybody's ever condensed DBZ. Because I bet you could condense it into like 1/6 of the time.
No, actually, there was a, I believe there was an official condensing of it that was done.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, if I hadn't already watched all the episodes in high school, I'd totally watch that.
Ooh, OQ, with a little bit of a blue steal right there. Rolling through Samsung's jungle. Samsung still posturing around the Baron, but they don't really have an opportunity to take it. Lots of Najin. Watch, where you going, buddy?
Whoa, that's a... You almost took the tunnel to Deathville.
That's my least favorite kind of tunnel.
I know, I don't like that tunnel either. Bad tunnel. Tunnel's not the greatest place for Green Esports teams lately. StarCraft team had to forfeit a tournament or a match lately because they got stuck in a tunnel because of weather and couldn't get to the arena. So definitely stay out of tunnels. Oh, they grab Gung at the death sentence. Wraith brings him into the box, culling over the wall, but it doesn't do a whole lot. There's Kube's ultimate, shoring up Samsung just a bit, but they will disengage. Oh boy.
Yep. And not too much action, though. Tower defense absolutely fine. We have the Dragon up in 120. Will Samsung switch their focus over there?
Looks like they will.
Wow, Samsung really let a lot of wards get in around that Baron. Too many sneaky tricks they can pull.
Well, they've still at least got that one ward in pit, so they can make sure to avoid any sneakiness from the Najin side. So did you know that the name for Nemesis Draft in Korea literally translates to "you go to Hawaii"?
What?
I'm not kidding. It really does. It's like it's saying "you go to Hawaii," but it's saying it in sort of like, why don't you go to Hawaii sort of like attitude.
I don't understand why that's relevant.
I do not understand it either. It's like some sort of
idiom.
It's some sort of idiom, I guess. I don't know.
Wow,
I tried to have a Korean friend explain it to me, and he couldn't quite even do it. But yeah, I'm not kidding. Go look it up. It is. It's one of those things that sounds like I'm making it up again, but I'm not.
I can never tell with you anymore, though. I constantly suspect you're trolling.
This is true. That's a good thing to assume, but I am telling the truth this time. The Doa who trolled Monty. Is that the new story? Well, Dragon's up. Samsung clearing out a little bit of vision around the pit. Zoning with the saplings.
Yeah, Najin's vision is much better at this stage than Samsung. Samsung trying to land some spears right there, but nobody even walking up. Yeah. They threaten it. Nice culling right there, pushing them back off of the pink ward, but going to take another pass at it, most likely get it. There's the lantern in just for a little bit of extra safety.
Okay.
Samsung looks much cleaner in terms of how they're controlling and contesting these objectives that we've seen previously.
I agree. Okay, Najin putting pressure on the mid lane to pull Samsung away from Dragon, and they will do that. Now Najin swings back around to try to get their good position on the Dragon pit. Can they do it? They've kind of separated themselves a little bit.
All right, Najin got into the river. This is the big point right here. Because they couldn't walk through the choke with the Nidalee Spears earlier and the saplings. Now they're able to get that control, get some wards cleared, put in a couple of their own. They lose one Pink immediately. Somebody's going to have to go deal with this massive minion wave in the bottom side. Looks like it probably will be Rek'Sai.
Well, there's a pretty big minion wave coming up top side for Samsung as well, too, but it doesn't look like it's going to push quite as fast. There goes Watch. They're going to see him down in bot. Now, Rek'Sai can ult to get right back near the Dragon Pit. No, can he? I guess there's really not a lot of tunnels nearby, actually, now that I look at it.
Yeah, it would be a little bit difficult, actually. I think that Watch should have actually used his E.
That was close.
To get into the red pit right there so that he would have a better target. Yeah. But at the same time, Samsung doesn't necessarily know where all of his tunnels are, so there is that little bit of an advantage. And it's one of the great things about Rek'Sai is you can split push with her very effectively and be with the rest of your team in an instant.
Yep.
necessary.
Kind of like having 2 teleports on your team almost.
That's very strong
Yes,
in the late game in terms of controlling minion wave pressure.
Oh, they caught Duke. Not exactly the person they can burst down, but scaring Najin a bit. Najin going back towards that dragon. Now it's Samsung that has to go through this choke. They will do it. Meganar is up, and so Najin's going to just start this. Start counting on Duke to get in there with the ultimate to zone if they need him to. Kuve taking a bit of damage from Gung. That dragon, though, not going down very quickly. Pure getting poked out fairly heavily by the saplings and a few other abilities. And now Samsung turning onto that dragon. Najin's just going to try to steal it, I guess. Can they do it? Dragon will go to Samsung now. Oh, Gung brought in. Has to get out, has to zone his. Kuve pushed back by the ultimate from Jana. Now Samsung on the chase. Can they actually catch anybody? Gung a little bit out of position here. Samsung coming around the corner. They've got a couple people trapped. Not a lot of damage in that group from Najin, but here comes OQ and Pure. A kill for Duke. Duke ults Bliss and Fury against the wall, and 2 kills for Najin. Samsung getting taken apart a bit here. It's an even fight, but Najin looks like they're going to win this one.
Samsung massively over-pursued right there. They thought they had the opportunity. Duke was in his cooldown from Meganar, but they chased it so long and so hard that he actually got it back up, and they end up losing more than they've gained right there.
Well,
Eve, I mean, let's watch this. So this is a good timing. I mean, I like what we see. Look at that. He actually gets his Zhonya's off while he's a critter. Very interesting.
Now you let them go right here.
Yep, exactly. Yep. They walk through a culling, get chipped pretty significantly, and look at this. Duke just building up that Fury bar right now.
Yep.
And Kuve quite low on the top side. OQ just going to town on them.
Jeez.
Right there.
Well, Duke and Goon just evaporated Bliss and Fury right there. And, I mean, again, that's the type of move that you see and they're like, all right, Samsung still has some lessons to learn about decision-making at the pro level. I think a lot of other teams that have just gone back, taken care of what was going on in their top lane, pushed up the mid lane, went back and bought the safer, more intelligent play.
Yeah, obviously they could have maybe even taken a tier 2 mid lane turret right there because they had the presence. They had already pushed them all the way back and chunked out Goong.
Yeah, they got Goong's Zhonya's out.
So I think that was a very foolish chase from Samsung.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the kind of thing that you can count on when you're playing against Samsung right now is, you know, they may have those mechanics and they may be improving, but there's still going to be those decision-making errors that are going to have a big impact in their games.
Yeah, I really like the fact that they did posture aggressively at the pit with the Fury bar on Gnar so low. But after that, decision-making kind of fell apart. They do have some control over Baron right now, but not too much. Of course, a couple of wards. They've been unable to really clear the river around Baron this entire game so far, so Najin able to play very safely. Not with zero fear, pretty much. Kuve, quite a bit of damage right there.
Yeah, uses that ultimate. And Duke starting to split push here. They're going to have to send somebody to deal with this now.
Yeah, he can't move too quickly. Doesn't really have too much to work with at the moment. Looks like he will be going into a Sunfire Cape next. And so therefore, he can push just a little bit faster, be a bit more threatening in terms of his pressure on the towers, but
he'll be a bit better if he has to duel Kuve too, with Kuve mostly itemizing towards armor this time. But he's got so much health that it's still going to be tough.
Large way for Fury in top as he tries to catch back up in terms of CS. I mean, you can see everybody on Najin ahead of their counterparts by not the biggest margin in mid lane, but
20-30-ish CS in most lanes.
50 in the bottom lane, and that's the real story. OQ starting off this game with a major advantage.
I would say so. He is a full item ahead of Fury right now.
Let's see where he goes with this next. He's going to play a little bit more aggressively in terms of his positioning with the Bloodthirster. I imagine that's what he's going to do. Even with Eve so tanky, or Kuve rather, so tanky right now, just being able to absorb an Eve spear without getting too punished is very attractive. We do see the Spirit Visage now onto Eve, so going to be spamming spears for that cooldown. Very different build than someone like Svenskeren has been doing in the EU LCS, where going for more of that magic penetration.
Interesting. Well, Samsung taking an opportunity now to get a few more wards down to clear out some vision that Najin had developed. Dragon up into minute 30 again, and that's really been the major point of contention in this game.
Yeah, nobody really willing to commit to this Baron or able to.
Samsung,
Samsung, in spite of pressing forward past the river successfully multiple times, just hasn't been able to clear out all that vision that Najin has put down. Look, 4 wards in the river, just constant warding from Najin. Samsung a bit sloppy in terms of their control, so basically Najin can defend without fear. Bliss just getting chunked down.
He's got to be careful.
That's some big heals though, so that would be quite helpful. Duke going to absorb that hook.
갑자기 사탕을 막 따먹고 있는 거예요.
Really want to make sure this lane is nice and pressed forward. Najin now moving into Dragon River early as they can to make sure they can take this objective.
Well, Duke's in a pretty good spot to become Mega Gnar here in the near future as well too, and Samsung probably just gonna play it a little bit safer.
Yeah, go ahead, time that Gnar bar as well as you can. Watch is going to have to E away from the Nidalee Spear, so good dodge right there.
Samsung pushing up that mid lane again. Dragon is up in 10 seconds.
They don't have a lot of wards so far.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to have an opportunity to put some down now. Samsung, that is. Duke is kind of hanging out in river by himself at the moment.
Yeah.
That top lane is...
Crab just taken actually by Samsung.
Yeah.
Just spawned, so that speed trying going to be really helpful. Najin with no wards in that river, really.
Yep. Kuve's going to do a bit of zoning while the rest of Samsung, they're going to let that dragon go back, I guess. Really feeling unsure after that last one, but they have to do something about this top lane.
Perfect slow push into top. And so, not just going to try and delay this dragon as long as possible.
Oh, we'll see if they can do it. Duke coming in, he's going to have Mega Gnar at the right time here. Dragon a bit low. Najin can maybe just turn and finish this one off quick. This one might be a bit of a toss-up. You're coming through. That dragon's still getting lower. Who's going to get it? It will go to Samsung, smote away by Eve, but now Najin coming in. Wraith in a lot of trouble. Eve doing damage from the outside with Bliss. They do get a kill onto Wraith. Fury getting chunked down and has to run for his life with that Sivir ultimate. OQ in the back line doing a lot of damage. There goes Kuve. Nice knock up from Pure to set up the double kill for OQ, and Bliss caught out, has to flash. Looks like he'll barely be able to escape. At least Samsung got that dragon. They lost 2 people in the process.
And the scariest thing about that fight, Doa, is that Duke didn't even have to ult. He didn't find the right angle for it, so he'll have it up again as soon as he hits the Mega Gnar form one more time. Let's take a look at this again coming in. As Duke's going to hit that form. There's the box going down, but it's not really a big deterrent. OQ taking a spear right there, but there's no follow-up damage, and he's so far ahead. Look how heavily he chunks out Kube, even through that frozen heart.
Wow.
Now that he has that last Whisper, it's making quite a bit of difference for this 80 carry.
Yeah, Fury got caught up in that choke as well, too, and lost about 2/3 of his health or so.
Yeah, it was really good positioning by Duke right there. Samsung needed to actually use that Sivir ultimate a little bit earlier and more offensively. They did get bottled up by the Gnar stun inside that choke point. So could have played it, I think, a little bit more aggressively right there. Maybe it just gone for an even trade instead of just funneling right into a stun.
Yeah.
And trying to run away with the use of the on the hunt.
Oh, you know what they need in League of Legends? They need a character who can feign death. You know? Would that be cool or what?
No, that would be so annoying.
It would be great, man. Feign death, and it like removes CC. You don't move anywhere, but you just kind of appear to be dead, and they have to re-click you. You know, it deselects you as well.
I don't know how I feel about that, Doa.
I think that'd be awesome.
I feel really bad about that. They already have Kog'Maw and Karthus who do things after death. And Sion, isn't that enough for you?
No, but this is something they do before death. They just appear dead. See, that's the tricky part. They're not actually dead.
And then they have some sort of CC if you step on them.
Yeah, something like that. You get too close, or you know, they can maybe like dash in some certain direction as they get up. Or maybe they have like something where if you step over them, they can activate it. And it's like one of those like wake-up uppercuts from Street Fighter, where it just knocks up whoever's nearby. Get some CC that way. That'd be awesome. Be like kind of like a drunken master character, you know?
That would actually be hilarious.
This is getting like to be a much better idea. I like it.
Here we go. Flank coming in.
Yeah, that's right. They've got a nice angle onto Samsung. Duke not close to Mininar, but Kube, there we go. Sped up with that Whimsy. Gets the Lantern on his way out.
Forced to Sivir ult, however. Look how many wards Najin has in that top side as well. They've been so dominant in terms of vision for most of this game. Samsung now in a very dangerous place where they may have to face check without the speed from Sivir to get them out of harm's way, but they have a lot of ways to check these brushes. Traps, Nidalee Spears, and the Maokai saplings as well.
A lot of wingy sticks.
So many wingy sticks.
Wingy sticks. No, Watch can see people through the ground with his Tremor Sense. Because he's Rek'Sai.
Still not sure how that works on floating characters, as we discussed in our last broadcast, Noah.
Well, Eve getting poked a bit by Goong, but I think I figured it out. Is that it's kind of like if you had a jet engine facing at the ground. You know, maybe with Janna there's a bit of like downdraft that sends vibrations.
Pretty intense downdraft.
Here we go. Yeah, they're going to try to come in under this. Eve taking a lot of damage. They use the Wild Growth to keep Eve alive, and that is a big ult out of the way.
Yeah, Eve had to flash for that as well. Big wave piling up in bottom, however. OQ has been playing the solution beautifully, by the way, this whole game.
Okay, Najin going for the Baron. They've got the positioning. They've got the vision. Can Samsung stop them? Baron at about half health. Kube just walking in. Oh, Bliss nearly gets eliminated. Survives with the shield, but can he survive all the way? Kube on his own. Duke trying desperately to get that kill onto Bliss. Kube just 1v4ing. They finally take him down. Bliss has to recall Najin. Had to disengage from that Baron, but they just go right back on him again. And they will.
The late game power of this Najin composition.
Oh, there's
really
Duke. He's going to ult Eve back in, and that's a kill for Najin. This Baron is all but taken at this point. Meanwhile, though, minions for Samsung did take down the bottom tier 2, but this Baron is the real story here for Najin right now. Recalls coming in, and they can start to make that very scary push for the rest of Samsung's objectives.
Yeah, certainly a worthy trade when the dust settles for that tier 2. And OQ, again, very aggressive positioning. He has such a good knowledge of his limits right here. His Ghostblade popping really did help secure that Baron along with the actual warding around that pit right there. Again, just absolutely dominant vision control from Najin. Samsung struggling with their warding the longer this game goes on.
Yep. Samsung kind of on the ropes here. Stronger early game than we've seen from them in the past, but I think the experience of Najin is certainly showing itself here.
Yeah, Samsung's still taking some fights that they probably shouldn't have when trying to snowball their advantages just a little bit too hard, which can result in things going exactly the opposite direction from time to time. But really, I mean, OQ is now 100 CS over Fury, and Fury's a good AD carry player, but it's really just been about that little advantage that they got early on in the laning phase of the draft where they did take the solution. It turns out...
Wow, Wraith getting really low, and here we go, coming in. They're going to dive this one. OQ, though, grabbed it, pulled into the box. That's over pursuing, too, but now Goot coming in. Can they possibly kill anyone off? Not quite. Kube coming in now. That's a 1v3 he'll take, and Wraith trying to find a grab, doesn't quite find it. Kube going in. He's going to take out Goong. Knockups trying to help Pure and the rest of Najin disengage, but just like that, 2 Baron buffs gone off the most important people on Najin. You really cannot get overly aggressive, even against a team like Samsung.
OQ does this sometimes. We've seen him do this. When Najin gets a big lead and they need to close out the game, sometimes he will just die by doing very foolish things. I mean, he's had such calculated aggression through most of this game, and then he just goes freaking bananas on them, trying to use that Ghost Blade with the culling. He did a ton of damage, but
still.
Are they actually going to lose an inhibitor for this? Looks like Duke's too tanky, and they're going to be
Wow,
fine.
that's a big ult, and Pure there. Can he get bloodthirsty? Look at all the damage from Duke. Wild Growth will knock him up. Bliss staying alive, but Wraith very low. Samsung turning onto this one again. Another nice whirlwind. Kube going way deep. Watch, though. Too tanky, and Samsung has to back off.
Wow, Duke doing work there, saving their inhibitor turret.
Yep, well, he's got Thornmail now, no wonder.
Well, here we go. Okyu's back. He's got an Elixir of Wrath. He's very angry and also slightly foolish.
Well, can he channel that foolishness into smart plays? No, probably not. All right, let's watch Okyu just mercifully kill himself here. Whoops.
I don't know what he was expecting. There was a Thresh right there. He got hooked.
He dashed towards the Thresh.
Flashed and dashed.
That's true, yeah.
And Najin trying to save their erstwhile young member.
That's right.
Ends up costing Goong his life as well.
And in the end, it was Okyu's hubris that cost Najin the push.
Still not really in danger of losing this game, but
yeah,
we've seen this
before. The push was ended.
We've seen this before when Okyu plays with Najin, that they do get overbowled in the end of things at times.
It's true. He was like one of those, you know, he's got the skin, so he's kind of like one of those soccer players that goes like way ahead of the rest of his team and tries to make like the big play by himself.
Trying to be the stylish one. Style it on fools, but
we need goalie Thresh now because he just blocked it. There's the culling. I guess we do have a goalie Maokai.
Look how much damage that culling does when you activate the Ghost Blade for the extra attack speed. Just a million hits on that ability. True. Phantom Dancer as well, charging that one up. Okyu playing with a bit more reserve now.
I'd say so. Well, Samsung kind of given a bit of a new lease on life, actually, because of that. They've been able to stabilize. They have not lost any inhibitors. The Baron that Najin got really came to nothing other than, I believe, just one mid-turret, the tier 2, or was that already down even?
Yeah.
Oh, it was not down quite yet.
Yeah. So, also it's worth noting that this Italy does fall off late game in terms of these team fightings, team fights. As people get Veil, as people get tankier, of course, Watch has more crowd control as well, so he's going to be doing more work in late game team fights than in Italy, generally speaking. Yep. Especially with MR coming in more and more, shields also available for Najin from Goong and from Pure. Well, onto some of this magic damage.
Eve is going for that Void Staff, but it's not gonna make too much of a difference.
Well, Duke is 6 items right now as well. He's going to be very difficult for them to kill with their somewhat low damage output.
He finishes his Maw of Malmortius too, which I think is one of the coolest names for an item in League of Legends.
Is it really a Maw? Can you call a sword a Maw?
You can call a sword anything you want, man. It is cool to call a sword crazy things. Except you can't call it like, you know, James or something like that. You can't just give it like a regular name. Here's
what are the
great Lord Bolthar and his sword, Todd. It's like, it just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. You have to. But Maw of Malmortius, that is a cool sword name. I guess you can't say, like, this is my sword, Axe. You can't, unless you're like a Final Fantasy character, then sometimes that happens. But usually that doesn't work either.
Usually, that's like more getting lost in translation, isn't it?
That's true, I suppose. They had gunblades were okay, but then it just got too crazy.
I don't know how I feel about gunblades.
Well, I mean, they did exist to a certain extent in real life as well.
Yeah, those were pretty ineffective, though. They only existed for a very brief time period. Until people realized that it was silly and you could just put a bayonet on a gun and it was way better.
Yeah, but how cool are those things, though? If I was a pirate, I would want one, even if it wasn't quite the greatest thing ever.
Nah, I'll just take a bayonet, thanks.
Well, actually, the proper way to board a ship would have a couple people in front with blunderbusses to scatter the, spray the deck with whatever you have lying around, and then people come over on ropes with the cutlasses. Back in my day, that's how we did it.
Back in the 18th century.
Back in my my privateering career. Well, the Baron dance will be pretty much ignored by Najin as they go for that Dragon. They're going to try to stop Samsung from taking it. Do they have enough to zone them off of the Baron, though?
Well, they have Duke here. Now,
Yeah,
he
they
is
do.
in
Here we
mini
go.
form. There's the Dragon taken.
Yep, that's right. Knockup's coming through. Baron getting a bit low. Here comes the rest of Najin. Can they possibly steal this one away? No, it will go to Samsung. Samsung turning now. OQ against the wall. He has to sprint away. People going back in again.
Oh.
There we go. Kube going deep. Nice ult from Pure. And Najin is going to clean this one up now. Everyone getting there in time. Double kill for Goong.
Bliss flashed back into the bit right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Bliss's team fighting still a little bit questionable.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know why you would flash back into a fight with Lulu. Not the.
I mean, OQ
biggest
and
melee
Duke just
champion.
demolishing everyone. Duke finding that angle once he got into that Mega Gnar form. You can see how much of a threat that champion is around the Baron pit, just hitting him right into the wall.
Yep.
And that's going to be all she wrote right there. The Desperation Baron, not
It is
enough.
over. Well, Samsung putting up a good fight early on, getting a little bit of an edge, but just not quite having the experience to follow up and make a game out of it. And so, Najin E-mFire will take game number 1 as the Nexus goes down. There it is, GG.
And you know what, Joa?
What? Fonzie?
OQ probably should have been the MVP for that game, but I am not going to let him have it.
Give it to Duke.
It's Duke's again, I think.
He's going to get, yeah, it's going to go to Duke.
Pure played very well also, though.
Yeah.
Especially helping out in the laning phase and having some good ultimates later on. And, yeah.
You know, we did have, who was it that played that mid Ezreal and died to turret by just walking into it in top lane on blue side, but then they still gave him MVP anyway. Is that GBM? I'm trying to remember. Well, I don't think it was GBM.
I don't remember.
Well, anyway, players have made mistakes like that and still gotten MVP, so.
Well, I don't give it to them. I reject their MVPs.
I think it's just inevitable. I mean, it is a Najin win, so Duke will probably get it anyway.
Well, he deserved it. He really did set up a lot of those team fights. Very good in our ultimates. Was in the right place at the right time, and
he did.
Just a workhorse all the way through.
Yeah. Well, Samsung, you know, in the end, kind of a rougher game for them. But overall, I still feel like we're seeing these guys improve.
Yeah, absolutely. They looked better tonight than they have at.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, they looked pretty good against SK Telecom, too. They really did give SK Telecom a hard time, harder than expected. So the last couple of weeks, we have seen a bit of an upturn as they found their stride. I really thought their team composition was good for them. Of course, they do have the issues with that team comp in the late game, and that's part of the reason why they lost. But they have to learn how to snowball their advantages and start playing in their own style. And I think we're beginning to see that.
I think so too. Well, when we come back, game number 2, guys, between Najin and Samsung Galaxy. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.